Welcome to the Class of 2025 graduation ceremony for CNIB Guide Dogs. The CNIB Guide Dogs logo features a dog with a harness and a handle. An ASL interpreter signs in a separate window.
Hello and welcome. My name is Danica Frappier. As one of the proud graduates, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the CNIB Guide Dogs graduation ceremony for the class of 2025. Hello to everyone watching from near and far. Thank you for being a part of the celebration. As some of you may already know, today is International Guide Dog Day. This special day celebrates the important work of guide dogs around the world and recognizes the dedicated people who help make these incredible partnerships possible. At this time last year, I was eagerly waiting to be matched with a CNIB guide dog. Today, I'm thrilled to share that I am now a first-time guide dog handler, having been matched with my guide dog Ella this past September. Ella, come say hi!
Guide dog Ella, a black lab, runs into the frame.
While I may be a little biased, I believe that Ella is extra special since she's the first guide dog to come from the first ever CNIB bred litter. She truly showcases the excellence of our puppy development program. As a new graduate, I can't help but feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude for everyone involved in supporting the CNIB Guide Dogs program. To the extraordinary volunteers and staff, thank you for all that you do in supporting these dogs in becoming guide dogs, buddy dogs, ambassador dogs, or brood dogs. Now, who's ready to get the celebration started? Let's welcome CNIB's President and CEO, Angela Bonfanti.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today to celebrate the class of 2025. It's been a truly wonderful experience to witness so many people today graduating with their new partners. I look forward to following your journey ahead. Before we get started with all the festivities ahead, I'm excited to share some news about our program's leadership. Please join me in welcoming Robert Gahn as the new president of CNIB Guide Dogs. As you'll see later in the ceremony, Rob is a proud graduate of the CNIB Guide Dogs class of 2025. He was matched with his first ever guide dog, the beautiful black Labrador retriever named Mango, who's a sweetheart and a regular at our Bayview office, in May of last year. With his experience from his previous role as president of CNIB Smart Life and having the open innovation portfolio and his commitment to our mission as a lifelong client, Rob will lead CNIB Guide Dogs through his next phase of growth and expansion. Under his leadership, I'm excited to witness the future of the success of our beloved CNIB Guide Dogs program, the strengthening of our community ties, and ultimately, more people with guide dogs or buddy dogs. Since launching in 2017, which sounds like a very long time ago, with just 2 puppies, CNIB Guide Dogs has graduated over 100 guide dog teams and 38 buddy dog teams, with the class of 2025 being our biggest cohort to date. Our ever-growing program marks a special milestone this year. 3 of our dogs graduating today are actually from CNIB's very first litter of puppies born back in 2023. The success of CNIB Guide Dogs has always been a shared effort made possible by so many invaluable volunteers who give their time, their energy, their passion to selflessly raise and providing loving, nurturing home to our beloved little puppies. Over the past year, we've expanded our puppy raising program into 2 new locations, now in Vancouver and Ottawa. This expansion will allow for more volunteers to take part in raising and socializing future guide dogs, and we're excited to welcome our new puppies to these new communities. Puppy raising and boarding is a rewarding volunteer opportunity with unconditional love that changes many lives, including yours. By volunteering as a puppy raiser today, you can support a future partnership of tomorrow. To get involved and to learn more, please visit cnibguidedogs.ca. Once again, congratulations to all of our graduates today and everyone who helped to make these remarkable partnerships possible. Now, I'd like to welcome your new president of CNIB Guide Dogs, Robert Gahn.
Hi everyone. As president of CNIB Guide Dogs, it gives me great pleasure to extend my heartfelt congratulations to all of the 2025 graduating teams. As a guide dog handler myself, I know firsthand that your journey has been one of learning and courage, determination, and commitment. Each of you has embraced the challenges and triumphed, not only in completing the training, but in opening a new chapter to personal independence and forming a bond with your guide dogs that goes well beyond words. This has been my experience in being matched with my guide dog, Mango, and I have no doubt that it has been your experience as well. The cost of care for every dog in our program, from puppy to retirement, is $50,000. It is because of our generous supporters that CNIB Guide Dog can cover the cost of a guide dog, a buddy dog, or an ambassador dog, ensuring that our graduates can focus on their goals and not on yet another barrier to independence. Donations keep every part of CNIB Guide Dogs focused in achieving our mission, helping us to acquire new puppies, covering the cost of veterinary care, food, harnesses, leashes, dog enrichment and training, and supporting the expansion of our guide dog facilities and puppy development facility and program. Whether it's sponsoring a dog, becoming a monthly donor, or supporting the expansion of our facilities, we are so grateful for our donors' ongoing support and the impact that this has for our clients. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize and to thank several individuals and organizations who have supported CNIB Guide Dogs this year, including Hydro One, Canadian Tire, Mary and John Crocker, and all of the monthly donors who helped to make this program possible. Every contribution, big or small, has an impact, and we are truly grateful for your continued support. The partnerships that we are celebrating today are a direct reflection of the commitment and the generosity of those who support us. Dolores Beck was one of our most generous supporters and a true champion of CNIB Guide Dogs, and our community was deeply saddened to learn of her passing in February. Dolores was instrumental in the development and growth of CNIB Guide Dogs, and her legacy will continue to inspire and to empower for generations to come through the Howard and Dolores Beck Puppy Development Center. I also want to highlight Roundtree Enterprises in memory of Brian and Bette Roundtree, who are transformational donors supporting the Puppy Development Center and program. Their $1.5 million gift changed the future of guide dogs in Canada, and we are honored to do this in Brian and Bette's memory. There are plenty of ways to get involved and show your support for CNIB Guide Dogs. One event I always look forward to is our annual CNIB Pup Crawl. This is a 5K fundraiser that is a fun way to stay active, all while supporting guide dogs and their handlers right across Canada. Like me and many of my colleagues, family, and friends, I hope that you too would consider organizing a team with your family and friends or by participating solo. Whether you walk, jog, run, roll, dance, or skill, your participation will help to raise funds to meet the growing demand for CNIB guide dogs in Canada. If you're not up to the 5K, you can always donate or pledge your support for a team or an individual. And to learn more about this fun event, I encourage you to visit cnib.ca/pupcrawl. Thank you again to all of our supporters. And now, Danica, back to you.
And now for the moment we've all been waiting for, the graduation of the CNIB Guide Dogs Class of 2025. As I introduce the graduates, a slide will display their name as well as photos of them with their dogs. First up, our ambassador dog partnerships. Lisa Cooper is graduating with Sherman, who was raised by Catherine Kieran and generously supported by individual and monthly donors across Canada. Congratulations, Lisa and Sherman. Marie McGee is graduating with Coco, who was raised by Jean Cahill and generously sponsored by the FDC Foundation. Congratulations, Marie and Coco. New to 2025, we are celebrating 4 brood dog graduates. Era was raised by Annie Turian and placed with brood carer Cindy Helps and generously supported by individual and monthly donors across Canada. Congratulations, Era. Mabel was raised by Kristen Weeb and placed with brood carer Pam Sully and generously supported by individual and monthly donors across Canada. Congratulations, Mabel. Cherry was raised by Allison Luck and generously sponsored by the FDC Foundation. Congratulations, Cherry. Willow was raised by Michelle Lee and generously sponsored by Greer Carter. Congratulations, Willow. Next are buddy dog partnerships. Alexandra Holleran is graduating with Nori, who was raised by Suzanne Oliot and generously sponsored by the 2023 Guide Dogs with Purpose Gala. Congratulations, Alexandra and Nori. Caleb Stryker is graduating with Amber, who was raised by Faye Cummings and generously sponsored by Mary and John Crocker. Congratulations, Caleb and Amber. George Senecal is graduating with Winter, who was raised by Mikey Mork and generously sponsored by an anonymous donor. Congratulations, George and Winter. Haley Bell is graduating with Sula, who was raised by Melissa Hilt and Pat Malinchuk and generously sponsored by the estate of Mike Zartler and Sandy Neithercut. Congratulations, Haley and Sula. Isaiah Gauthier is graduating with Tara, who was raised by Brent and Kathy Conacher, Eric Hartman, and Shannon Wales, and generously sponsored by an anonymous donor. Congratulations, Isaiah and Tara. Tom Gattegno is graduating with Bambi, who was raised by Hannah Crawford and generously supported by individual and monthly donors across Canada. Congratulations, Tom and Bambi. Tristan Chan is graduating with Fozzie, who was raised by Julia Jew and generously sponsored by Pat and Gordon Butcher and their family. Congratulations, Tristan and Fozzie. Now our guide dog partnerships. Adam Brown is graduating with Murdoch, who was raised by Jeffrey Barr and Margaret Fearon and generously sponsored by the Chancelani Foundation. Congratulations, Adam and Murdoch. Danica Frappier is graduating with Ella, who was raised by Catherine Lee and generously supported by individual and monthly donors across Canada. Congratulations to me and Ella. Danica Blackstock is graduating with Zany, who was raised by Cameron Northwood and generously sponsored by the Power of One Foundation. Congratulations, Danica and Zany. Derek Lackey is graduating with Susie, who was raised by Andrea Yekic and generously sponsored by an anonymous donor. Congratulations, Derek and Susie. Ernest Jickles is graduating with Wishbone, who was raised by Janice Graham and generously sponsored by an anonymous donor. Congratulations, Ernest and Wishbone. Heidi White is graduating with Amy, who was raised by Chris Dyer and generously sponsored by Dolores Beck. Congratulations, Heidi and Amy. Joe Cork is graduating with Yuki, who was raised by Claire Sparling and generously supported by individual and monthly donors across Canada. Congratulations, Joe and Yuki. John Walker is graduating with Cami, who was raised by Donna Provost and generously sponsored by Jim Gauthier. Congratulations, John and Cami. Karen Hamill is graduating with Ami, who was raised by Sarah Lapp and generously sponsored by AMI, Accessible Media Inc. Congratulations, Karen and Ami. Catherine Ball is graduating with Sharon, who was raised by Kezia Gray and generously sponsored by S&J Jameson. Congratulations, Catherine and Sharon. Katie McMaster is graduating with Olema, who was raised by Anne Pan and generously sponsored by the Rotary Club of Calgary Olympic. Congratulations, Katie and Olema. Kendra Gogan is graduating with Autumn, who was raised by Dee Hetiarachi, Carissa De Silva, and Doris Phillips, and generously sponsored by an anonymous donor. Congratulations, Kendra and Autumn. Lewis, who was raised by Hannah Benovic and Christy and John Babiar, and generously sponsored by Alex Gray in memory of A.L. Gray, is graduating with their handler. Congratulations! Louis Pereira is graduating with Peach, who was raised by Louis Frenette and generously sponsored by the FDC Foundation. Congratulations, Louis and Peach. Lise Veilleux is graduating with Roselle, who was raised by Allison Luck and generously supported by individual and monthly donors across Canada. Congratulations, Lise and Roselle. Michael Katzel is graduating with Mockley, who was raised by Roberta Herman and generously supported by individual and monthly donors across Canada. Congratulations, Michael and Mockley. Peter Bigger is graduating with Lena, who was raised by Joel and Chris Kobelka-Pang and Delaney McCarran, and generously supported by individual and monthly donors across Canada. Congratulations, Peter and Lena. Richard Angstrom is graduating with James, who was raised by Paul Kita and Mary Sturgio Kita, and generously sponsored by the estate of James McMath. Congratulations, Richard and James. Robert Gaunt is graduating with Mango, who was raised by Adil and Cash Balsera, and generously sponsored by Elise Marcoux from Quebec. Congratulations, Robert and Mango. Robert Young is graduating with Curly, who was raised by Noreen, Leah, and Hannah Weiss, and generously sponsored by Marion Kaplan. Congratulations, Robert and Curly. Ross McGinnis is graduating with Lux, who was raised by Sue Hutchinson and generously sponsored by Hydro One Power to Give initiative. Congratulations, Ross and Lux. Yvonne Felix is graduating with Voyan, who was raised by Jack Clarkson and generously sponsored by the 2022 Guide Dogs with Purpose Gala. Congratulations, Yvonne and Voyan. Congratulations to all of today's graduates. Up next is a short video with some of our graduates sharing their personal photos, videos, and memories with their new partners.
At a dance studio, Yvonne practices different cues with guide dog Voyen. Danica and guide dog Ella are out for a walk.
Ella is an adorable, loving Black Lab Golden Retriever cross. I call her my little pocket rocket. She guides me with incredible courage and determination. I wish I was as confident as this girl. She's a bit cheeky and always finds a way to melt your heart. Thank you to all the volunteers and CNIB Guide Dog staff members who were involved in caring and training Ella. I am truly grateful to have her by my side.
Danica and guide dog Zany make their way through a bustling convention center.
My name is Danica, and I was matched with CNIB Guide Dog Zany. She is a funny dog. She always is doing something that makes me laugh. Her tail is always wagging, and she's always so enthusiastic about every single thing in her day, and her enthusiasm is contagious to anybody who's around her. Her favorite thing to do is to work, especially in more complicated situations or in crowded spaces. She loves to guide and make those harder decisions. Having a guide dog has let me do whatever I want, going to university, working, traveling independently, and just living the life that I want to live because I have that comfort, security, and independence that a guide dog brings to me. So thank you to everybody who makes this partnership possible. My GDMI, all of the puppy raisers, and all the other staff that are part of this organization, as well as all of the donors that make these matches possible.
George and buddy dog Winter walk with family along a quiet residential sidewalk. George holds Winter's leash and skips with excitement. Peter and guide dog Lena are out for a walk in a snowy park. Joe with guide dog Yuki by her side.
This is a wonderful opportunity for Yuki and I to say thank you to CNIB Guide Dogs. Yuki has opened up my world. She's been a gift from heaven. I'm a different person because of her. Some joy and peace have come back into my life. This little animal can take me safely to a curb, do the usual stop, look, and listen, evidently, and then with all confidence leave me across the street safely. I am totally indebted to CNIB Guide Dogs. Thank you.
Guide dog Ami plays with a squeaky dog toy in his dog bed.
Hi everybody, I'm John and this is Cami 2, and we graduated in November of 24. There's so many people we'd like to thank from the CNIB Camp Joe, and CNIB Guide Dog. Yes, I know. I'd like to put out a special thank you to Ben And a big thank you to Emily for all her guidance.
Tom and buddy dog Bambi walk with family along a residential sidewalk. Tom holds Bambi's leash and navigates with a white cane. Michael with guide dog Mockali by his side.
When CNIB Guide Dogs matched me with Mockali, it was an absolute game changer. She's more than just my guide. She's my confidence booster, my safety net, my inspiration, and my friend. She's given me the confidence to navigate this world with ease and given me the freedom to live my life without limits. But it's not just about independence. I've also garnered tremendous respect from strangers as well. They see her, they know I'm not just blind, but I'm capable. She also loves to cuddle. My kids love her, my family loves her. I work as an educator in a daycare. My coworkers, the kids I work with, they all love her. And we have an unbreakable bond. She's more than just a guide. She's family.
Yvonne practices a high five with guide dog Voyen. Robert and guide dog Curly by his side.
Even though it's been a short time that I've known Curly, he's developed a natural habit of knowing my roots around town.
Curly lays down and exits the frame.
He's sort of in his, as you notice, his relax mode right now. We had a really busy day. We headed downtown. We went to a pet store to pick up a few things for him. He's excellent on the transit. He loves riding the transit with me. He knows my roots through the downtown core. Other than that, he's just been amazing.
Adam and guide dog Murdoch are out for a walk along a quiet residential sidewalk. Ross with guide dog Lux by his side.
First of all, I'd like to say how grateful I am to have Lux in my life. I greatly enjoy walking in the neighborhood parks. If we're out shopping, at a social event, or traveling in a car, bus, subway, or airplane, he's completely cool and calm. When he's out of harness, he's a funny, playful, very affectionate lad. I'd like to send thanks out to Hydro One for sponsoring him, Sue, his puppy raiser, Rebecca, his campus trainer, and Emily, my trainer, who worked to produce this match for me.
Lise and guide dog Roselle are out for a walk along a quiet residential sidewalk.
I'm Alan, this is Sarah, and our son Tristan, and this is our buddy dog Fozzie.
Tristan was playing alone most of the time as he's nonverbal and he doesn't have a lot of friends. Now he's smiling a lot more. He loves to play with Fozzie and has made a lot of effort to verbalize more because he's motivated to do so.
When we first learned that a buddy dog owner must be able to say a number of commands, we were a bit nervous because Tristan was only to say a few words at best. Yes, that's right, Tristan. Tristan worked hard over a number of months in anticipation of his buddy dog and is now able to say Fozzie. Yes, that's right. And a lot more new words, including come, sit, and down. Fozzie is truly God's gift. He has brought a lot of happiness to Tristan and the whole family, and his impact is life-changing. We look forward to all the memories Tristan and Fozzie will create together.
And that's a wrap on today's festivities. Once again, congratulations to all the graduates, puppy raisers, donors, supporters, partners, and of course, the CNIB Guide Dogs team. Thank you all for joining us today. We'll see you next year.
CNIB Guide Dogs logo. Caption: Congratulations to our 2025 graduates.